Hey, what is up, you guys? Welcome to another day of Spencer here on FTM Transtastic, and this week we're talking about rants. So I figured the best way I'm going to talk about rants is in a jacuzzi with my homeboy Digger, who likes to drink the jacuzzi water, just to make this as calm and relaxing as possible, because I can go on for hours. So I'm trying to keep this as condensed as possible. Hopefully I get this in under 5 minutes. That's my goal. But rants. One thing I want to talk about, or the only thing I want to talk about, the rant that I have to share is how we treat ourselves within the community. And I think it comes a lot down to privilege. As a community, we stress very hard that we are accepting and open and willing to educate. And that's beautiful, that's great. And I see a lot of people doing that work, and I applaud every single one of you. I am one of the people that also do that work when I have the spoons to do it. However, what I have noticed a lot, and I notice this a lot on like Facebook groups or DMs on Instagram or Instagram comments or YouTube comments, what I've seen a lot is people who, the minute they hear somebody that says some misinformation or gives their opinion that may be different from like the feel of the group or whatever, they are immediately attacked. And I get it. Some of us don't always have the spoons to combat, whatever bullshit that we hear, and that's fair. However, I kind of like don't understand why we can't just not say anything, if that makes any sense. One of the most common topics that I can bring up, and I'm sure you guys have all seen if you're part of Facebook groups, etc., is the comments of True Scum versus TQ. That is like gonna go down for like forever. There's always going to be an issue with these two groups of people, mostly because I believe one side is just misinformed and the other side is just maybe a little more informed. But besides the point, that's not the conversation. The conversation that I want to have is like the minute somebody says something that aligns with True Scum on a Facebook group, unless it's like a True Scum feel group, right? Instead of being questioned or being curious as to how somebody came to that belief system, we immediately call them trash. That is immediately what happens. We jump on them, we would degrade them, and we don't even offer any type of education. And I find that very interesting coming from a community that prides itself. We pride ourselves on being inclusive and being open and being willing to educate. And yet when we have our own trans siblings with a differing opinion or just misinformation, we immediately shut that down and we immediately jump to name calling. And that's something that really irks me. I have proven in a couple of groups multiple times that there is a way in which you can get your point across and educate without being harmful. And their responses is, this comment is harmful to people in the group. And I'm like, that's fine. Your comments are harmful to someone else in the group, i.e. the person you're attacking. And I just don't understand why we can't I just don't understand why we can't extend that same, courtesy and just be decent. I mean, my goal has always been, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it. And honestly, if people just understood how Facebook group works, if somebody says some fuck shit and nobody comments on it, guess what? That comment is going to go to the bottom of the list, because that's how it works, right? You have to either be constantly adding fuel to it or be a new poster in order for people to see your comments. That's how they work. So if you just didn't say anything, then none of this would happen. None of this would be a problem. Everything would go away. And if you do want them to be educated, then have the people who are willing to educate. And that solves it. There's no need to call people names. There's no need to call people out. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about people who you say, yo, the sky is blue, not green. And they're like, yeah, fuck you, the sky is green. All right, those people, yeah, we can, wash our hands of them or whatever. I mean, some people are just not going to change. But I do believe the vast majority of people are just misinformed. And I think it's a lot to do with the privilege or the country they grew up in or the access that they have. There's 3 people on a Facebook group who I chatted with who had this different ideology than the rest of the group. And one of them was 14, so that, I mean, not saying there's anything wrong with 14-year-olds, but they don't have a lot of life experience. I mean, I didn't at 14, so they're 14 and just didn't know there's a different way of viewing it. Once I explained the different way, they 100% agreed and was fine. The other person was from a country that doesn't speak English and also didn't have any other way of explaining transgender people other than a certain kind of way. So then when they were met with something different, they were confused. And then when they were explained that difference in a language they understood, then it was fine. And the last person just didn't know people could possibly exist different from them. I mean, granted, that's a little ridiculous, but hey, we all have our things, right? And I kind of am like blown away how in a week I can change 3 people's minds by just talking to them when, you know, before they were just getting bashed and shunned and hated on and banned from groups or suspended from groups and all this other nonsense just because they didn't understand something. I mean, can you imagine when you were a baby trans what it was like? When you didn't understand something, you're like, oh, I'm a part of this group, I can ask a question, and everyone's just like, how are you so stupid? I can't believe you just said that. You're the worst kind of human being out there. Like, that's pretty harsh, don't you think? I mean, I think so. I don't know. But anyways, that's the rant I have. Just be kind to people. If you don't have spoons to educate, don't say anything. And I don't know. Yeah, that's it. But this is my first pool day, post-top. And it's pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a great week and are gearing up for an even better weekend. It is someday. It is Spencer. Until next time.